The strength of Yahuah, who teaches my hands to war and my fingers to fight. Psalms 144 and 1. Shalom, Yashrael. If you've been following this channel for a while, I'm sure you're very familiar with that particular verse of scripture. It's a scripture from our King David as he went through his battles, as he wrote or had the scribes write for him, as he went through, his battles to, conquer and survive and overcome, all of the challenges that he was faced. We know his story. We know that when David was a young man, he was fighting off, wild animals to protect, sheep. We know that, as he grew a little older, he fought off a giant, Goliath, to, show his older brethren, and the rest of Yashrael, was never a selfish man except for that one occasion. But we saw him fight off a giant, and win. And later on, we saw him fight against a king who was envious and jealous and petty, like many in Israel, can be. And we saw him sustain himself and be obedient to Yahuah and spiritually defeat that king. When you read, in the book of Chronicles, he tells Saul, that's the king he was fighting. He said, Saul, from wicked come wickedness. But you remember this, Yahuah will avenge me. Oh, and by the way, just so you know, Saul, that your Yahs anointed, and otherwise, if it had you not been, or if you were not Yahs anointed, he said, I would have slaughtered your ass. He said, but 2 times I could have got you, but I didn't do it because it wasn't my responsibility to deal with you. Yahuah was going to deal with you. And sometimes, that's the battle that others fight. But I bring it all up because this is the time for many of our brothers and sisters to make a decision. If you're following, again, this channel, you've heard many of the messages I've talked about, winter is coming. And I've said this for years now, that this time that we're in, we're in 2026 now, but coming into this time that we would see things that would be somewhat surprising, some cases amazing, and before it's all done, many of you, will live to see people that you love leave this earth and go burn in eternal damnation and fire. In other words, you're going to see a lot of debt and misery, and it's coming. And, it's not a thing about, people were like, well, the prophet is prophesying. No, this man, Yah's prophet is just telling you the truth. And we're so used to people lying to us that, everything to us is some big moment of, exuberation or, stimulation. That's a better word. We got to be stimulated. Stimulate me, And the truth to be told is that this is not about stimulating anybody. This is just a flat out warning, that is already clearly written in the book that Yahuah says he's going to judge this earth. He said, in many places, throughout our book, he talked about, there will come a time where suffering will be everywhere, desolation would be everywhere, destruction would be everywhere. Many, many tears would flow in many, many places. And in some instances, those tears would not have to have fallen. At least they wouldn't have had to be tears of sorrow. But because of the cowardliness of his people, those tears flow. Brothers and sisters, don't you know that if we were following this Torah from the beginning, and if we continue to follow this Torah, if there were tears, there'd only be tears of joy. And if it was tears for us, it would only be tears of joy. And all the other tears would be, our foot up the ass of our enemies. Whether they be in Israel or whether they be, surrounding us. I'm talking about the other nations. But because that, our people have, allowed, cowards to come in and make us cowards. Those who will never fight you, one-to-one, they're going to come in with an army. They're going to come in with their religion. They're going to use their medicine, medical institution. They're going to use their financial institution. They're going to use their educational institution. They're going to use their, what is the last one? The religious, I think I said that. If I didn't say it, let me say it again. And then, of course, their military. We see that going on, with Venezuela, and you see what happened, you know, you know, and I'm not going to get into the so-called politics of it because this is not politics. This is behavior, brothers and sisters. They'll use clever little words like politics and things of that nature to get you to start thinking about, oh, it's America against Venezuela, or it's America against Iran, or it's America against, China or Russia. Brothers and sisters, that's just child's play. That's like, your favorite football team or sports team going against another team, and everybody's all hollering, all about it, all a bunch of hoopla. And at the end of the day, when that game is over with, you know what they do, Brother Mendez? They just get out of their seats, go find their automobiles, and go home. Have dinner or whatever, and go to sleep. And tomorrow is just another day. When you look at this stuff that's going on internationally with these wars, if you want to call them that, not really wars when a country like Israel can just jump in and go and slaughter defenseless people in Palestine but claim it's a war. Or countries like America that can go in and take leaders out of sovereign countries like America did with in Venezuela. It's easy to call that a war because that's the way they like to project themselves. The wicked slay the innocent but hold themselves not accountable. That's the terminology they like to use to get everybody. It's the pep rally. So look at us, look how great we are, and we went to fight and we won, and we snatched them out in Delta Force, and they go to all that stuff because they know that most people are cowards and full of emotionalism. See, a coward don't have to do anything. A coward just goes around and say things. I'll say it again. A coward doesn't have to do anything. A coward just goes around and say things and talk. That's why I said in the comments, don't put nothing in these comments over here if you're not living nothing. And I'm not talking about some isolation living. I'm talking about if you have your 10 toes down, feet on the ground, helping me fight, and I mean really helping me fight, then you're not with me. You're not with the DFG family. That's a lie. That's a lie you told yourself because I didn't tell you that. I did not tell you that. But anyway, as you go through these, as we begin to see what's coming in 2026, you're going to see where Yahuah is going to expose a lot of not only wickedness, but he's going to expose this cowardliness. Again, those who do a lot of talking, but at the end of the day, where's the change? Where's the demonstration that you'll fight back? Because see, these demons, these Edomite demons, and I know some of y'all want to say whatever you want to say, or Edom ain't Edom and Esau ain't Esau, whatever you want to say. I know what this book says. This book describes a certain people, and I know who acts like that people. So we're going to leave it right there. You can keep all the rhetoric. You're not going to impress me with your knowledge, because again, you don't do shit either. Forgot. I see you. I know what you do. At least for the work we do here, you don't do anything. But anyway, that to be said, that's the coward's creed. The coward creed is I can talk, I can threaten, I can imply, but I'm not going to take no stand, and I'm damn sure not going to fight. Unless I can do it behind the computer, or I can do it inside, in my room. Or wherever you might be. On your job, in your car, in your truck. Look all through this how you say, social media world. And you have all these content creators, men and women, and they just are talking, and they just are talking about this and that. And brothers and sisters, I am telling you, if you go back and look behind these people haven't done a damn thing with their lives. I'm telling you, other than maybe had a few children, got married, got divorced 3 or 4 times, got 4 or 5 men, running trains on their ass, one at a time, of course. And then later on, or he got, he can't hold a goddamn job. And if he does have a damn job, that's all he has. Just over broke. And I'm not saying that to criticize hard work. I'm talking about those who doing all this running their mouths, doing all this talking, but but there is no action. And then the biggest of all those fools, and there's a lot of foolish cowards out there, my dear brothers and sisters. The biggest of these damn fools will come at certain of us who have been doing things all our life, fighting for all people and fighting for others all our life, and have the audacity to ask us, you're doing all that talking, but what have you done? Like they know us. I'm like, damn. And even worse, like we need to prove it to them. Mr. Haven't done shit with your whole life. I got to prove to you who've been doing something with mine. I got to prove to you who haven't done anything with yours. You can go screw yourself, fool. That ain't never going to happen. The book says it's a dumb leader who will lower himself and let the people he lead tell him what to do. All the people who's not even in his class, Brother Key, to tell us what to do. So anyway, but again, like I said, it's easy, to talk about a fight, but then when that fight comes, that's when you find out, brothers and sisters, as they say down south, that's where the rubber meets the road. And what you're going to find out is a lot of these people who do all this talking, oh, I love Yahuah. Oh, Yahuah is my Savior. Yahuah is my Redeemer. Oh, Yahuah is my provider. Oh, Yahuah is my peace. Oh, Yahuah this and oh, Yahuah that. And they ain't going to do a goddamn thing. And Yahuah is none of that for them. Our Elohim is a man of war. Exodus 15:3. So if he's a man of war and you're a woman of passivity, or a man, who of peace, then obviously you're not following Yahuah. Because he's a man of war. And you can conjecture, you can tell lies, you can twist the script, you can do whatever the hell you want to do. You're still a liar. Because Yahuah is a man of war. And there's evidence throughout our whole book of this fact. This is not a conflation. Again, this is not my personal opinion. But I do know one thing, if Yahuah is in your heart, your ass is going to fight. You will not be a coward. You're not going to be afraid of anybody. You're not going to let anybody take something from you that Yahuah says is yours. Not going to happen. Yeah, we've been hijacked and robbed and the pirates, as they're doing right now, just come and seize anything without any resistance from many of us. And so many of us are so afraid to fight that we just lay down. Step on me like you're a rug. I'll just do whatever they tell me to do just to make sure, I don't, lose nothing. I'm going to do everything that I need to do because I just, I want to have peace. Well, fine, have your peace here and burn in hell eternally because that's the wages of a coward. This book tells us, what does Psalm 28:1 says, dear brothers and sisters? It said what? The wicked flee when no one pursueth them. What does Ecclesiastes tell us? And that Solomon in chapter, he said, was a time to war. It's a time to kill. It's in the book. And what happens? We got all these folk out here who want to kill us spiritually, with their verbal attacks. What have you done? You ain't do nothing. I hear what you said, but what you done? Again, only a fool would imply that someone hasn't done something or tell somebody to prove something when they haven't done any damn thing themselves. You go first. That's what I say to you. If you want to know what I've done, fine, I'm okay with it. But since you asking the goddamn question, you go first. And then I'll gladly stack up what I've done against what you accusing me of not have done because you don't like the fact that I'm teaching and I teach with passion and I'm actually committed. I actually believe what I say. I actually believe that this book, this word, is a pure word, it's a true word. And that not only that, but when I go to fight, that Yahuah is going to put a shield around me against wicked little, minions like some of these wicked heathens that we deal with every single day in our houses and outside our houses. But if you're looking for an example of cowardliness, just look again. Look around this world. You look at the islands, for example. They all call themselves like this coalition of the diaspora, this coalition of Trinidad, Tobago, and Puerto Rico, and and Cape Verde, and the Bahamas. You look at these people, Barbados, all of these are our brethren. But here it is, Trump just put a big giant Edomite foot up in a sovereign country's ass. And what are they doing over there? Ooh. Ooh. But yet they boast about how proud they are to be of this nationality or this nation. But let one of them get attacked, and watch what the other one's going to do. I can tell you what they're going to do, brothers and sisters. Absolutely what they always do, and that is nothing. Absolutely nothing. And they'll come up with excuses. Oh, but that America is a big old mighty powerful country. Yeah, and? Because some come over here and tell us about, that you shouldn't expect these countries to be able to fight against these mighty countries, but you're going to quote 1 Kings 14 and 6 to us. Yahuah can deliver with many like he can deliver with a few. I mean, because now, obviously you talking, but you don't believe what you're saying. This book says one to put 1,000 to fight 10,000. When you say Psalm 91, you should see, how our brothers and sisters are. I mean, some of them women, wetting their pants, and men too. And I ain't talking about taking a pee. You start talking about Psalm 91, they just all start to just, oh. Well, how do you know that one put 1,000 fight 10,000 fight when your ass won't bust a grape? When you're willing to sit down on your behind a computer or on your phone and do a whole lot of talking, but with the people out here trying to come together and get together, I ain't talking about no protest in the damn streets. I'm talking about getting ready for the final battle, a real battle. A battle that this book says you are nowhere to be found other than running your little flippant mouth. And that's what all they did. I heard the president, I think it was Barbados, he, she, because that's what it looked like to me. Oh no, we can't do anything yet because America's our friend and, Venezuela's our friend and, we need to get all the information. What information? He went over there, bombed a sovereign country, lied about them selling drugs when he knew it was all about the petroleum and whatever other resources that he could get his greasy, filthy, pig-like hands on. In front of everybody. Wasn't even ashamed of what he did. Boasted, told everybody what he was doing. I'm taking back the oil. What are you talking about? I told y'all drugs, but I lie all the time. You haven't got it yet? I said, no, I'm going over there for the oil. And Pete Hesek and Mark Rubio and the rest of us and Pam Bondi, all of our little, Edomite asses, and Netanyahu and all of us. No, we doing what we want to do. Y'all ain't going to do nothing. Y'all too scared to do something. Y'all talk about it. I was reading a quote just not too long ago, brothers and sisters, and some of you have heard me mention it, and it was talking about when the United States was a part of, during World War II. This might not be true, but I'm just saying. And there's a quote out there that the American soldiers, and we can just clearly, without any conjecture, just say the white ones, because they clearly wouldn't even let us fight for years in the war. We were cooking their food and cleaning their latrines. But anyway, they have a quote that they said that, the white man said, with them men American, that's when they say American, trust me, all you, melanated Israelite Americans, boy, you're going to be in for a real surprise when this shit start to hit the fan. You're going to find out real fast. And then you're no different than a Somalian or Ethiopian or a dog. But they'll prove it to you. Just, you little, melanated sister can't get enough of that white funky stuff. You watch what's going to happen to your asses. But anyway, I digress. Come back to the center here. But they would say during the war that the white man would say, praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. In other words, let's go fight. But they said when it came down to, Israel, and you could say that, with the religion, the Christians among us and the non-Christians, praise the Lord. And let's wait for the manna. You get it? One said, I'm going to pick up my weapon and I'll go against my oppressor. And the other one said, I'm just going to pray. Because Abba Yah know my heart. Well, you're a damn fool. Because that is not what this book says. You're either a fool because for your lack of knowledge, or you are a liar. Because that's not what he said. I'll prove it to you in a moment. The mindset of our Creator. I've given you several scriptures already talking about his attitude when it comes down to his chosen. And except you be his chosen, you're going to be destroyed right along with those heathens that you're so afraid of. You know, we talk many times about looking in that mirror and asking yourself the question, who are you? What do you see? And most of you claim, I look. Okay, and then what? Because looking in the mirror is the equivalent of self-reflection. Looking inside yourself and saying, what can I do better? What can I change? How can I get closer to the work that needs to get done? Not how long I can fast or how many more days I can add to my fast. So I can shake my little fine ass in front of Yahuah so he can look down on me and say, you took so good care of your temple that I just don't know what to do. If I was a man, I don't know what I would do. Sheer ignorance, foolishness. Our bodies, yes, are given to us to use for the glory of Yahuah, but it's also given to us as a weapon. It's exactly why I said to my dear brothers and sisters, I'm talking about the righteous DFG family, you need to get in shape. Because these heathens are going to use bioweapons on your asses. They're already doing it. Some of you are dealing with things right now. Yes, some of it may be some witchcraft stirred into the pot. But witchcraft in and of itself is not enough to overcome a righteous man and a righteous woman. It's just not enough. So all you witches and warlocks out there with your vomit that you want to regurgitate upon us, it's just going to ricochet, come right back on you. Don't you know that Yahuah has a shield around his anointed? Don't you know that? What did the Proverbs say in 30:35? Say the word of Yahuah is a pure word. It's a shield around those who obey it. Don't you realize that? But then again, a fool hates knowledge, so I guess you don't realize that. Scoffer, a mocker, you like to mock. You know, what's he yakking about? I don't know. But I know two things. I ain't your brother, and if you thought I was, that just means your mama is a hoe, and it's not my fault. But see, the righteous remnant of us, you know what I'm saying? We understand that this war is a real war. This fight is a real fight. This is not a, how you say, spiritual battle. Because Israel loves spiritual battles. That's why they all in these goddamn churches. That's why you celebrating those holidays. That's why you everywhere but nowhere at the same time. Now, when this book talks about fight, it talks about literally fighting. It means getting yourself together and getting yourself physically ready, mentally ready, and a heart of obedience. That's what serving Yahuah is. It means obedient. Not just, well, I'm obedient to Yahuah. Not if you're not obedient to his prophets, you're not obedient to him. Maybe you need to go back and look at the Shabbat message. Or maybe you just need to read the book for real with your eyes open. He said, I'm going to give you leadership. You obey that leadership. You don't do what you want to do. And because you get rebuked or chastised or corrected by that leadership, does not give you a right to cut off that leadership other than you be a witch and you're going to burn in hell, fool. Oh, boy, I know you heard that. But you're going to do what? What you always do. Yakety yak and then nothing. Now, you would think that would cause a person to go in, if you're looking in that mirror, self-reflecting and saying, no, I'm going to show you, elder, that I'm in this thing for real. I'm gonna prove to you that that I love Yahuah just like you love Yahuah, and I'm gonna be right out there with you, elder, in this fight. But you're not gonna do it. It ain't in you to do it. Because you are still practicing Christianity by another name. It's hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Praise Yahuah, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. When are you going to come and get me? Well, he's not coming. Not to get you, coming to destroy you. And all those like you. And he told me to tell you that. So I'm telling you. And you still not going to listen because you refuse to do any self-reflection. And that's why he said, I'm a 29-1 you. That's why you've been 29-1 and you don't even know it. Many of our brothers and sisters been 29-1. The only part that hadn't happened is the sudden destruction yet, but it's coming. Give it a minute. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go read the book of Proverbs 29:1. It was there for a reason. It's not there because, Solomon just, didn't have anything to do with his time, brothers and sisters. He knew that there will be a people who fit that description. Been in rebellion. But they claim they love Yahuah. And then they think that, I'm attacking them when the word says this. Follow me, dear brothers and sisters. Go over to the book of Ezekiel. Now, I'm attacking them. But here's what the word says. And I want you to put this together. What I'm talking about, confusing, activity for results. That's a better way to say it. These people confuse activity for results. Because they're doing all of these different things. And they think, I'm doing everything. But when you actually measure it, just say if that was food for an infant, would that child be fed? Based off of your behavior or their behavior. Because they was saying, where's the manna? Where's the manna? We want food. Give us something to eat. The price is too high. I need a better job. I need reparations. I need EBT. I need welfare. I need a man who can work so I can sit my ass at home and do nothing. I mean, literally, I'm sorry, well, clean up the house. But anyway, I digress. But could that baby eat? Because of all this talking, that's going to feed that child. Because this is the equivalent of it. Look what it says here, brothers and sisters. This is what all of those who got all these words to say. This is what Yahuah told Ezekiel to tell you. It says this, Ezekiel chapter 33, verse 30. Also, in addition, son of Adam means Yasharel. The children, your people, verifying, still are talking against you by the walls and the doors of their house. These are your mockers, your scorners, what is he hollering about? What have you done when you don't have any idea about what I've done, what I have did, what I have accomplished in my life? And I can assure you, if you were worth your weight in salt, I would tell you, but you're not. You're fit for the dung, D-U-N-G. Which, if you don't know what the word dung, just think manure. If you don't understand the word manure, just think S-H-I-T. You're not even worth that. So it's senseless for me to validate. There are billions of people like you, so I'm not going to waste the time when I've done the work and you haven't done anything but ask questions because you don't want to know the truth, because you have no intention to change or help with anything. So you become a mocker. You talk in the houses. And truth be told, good and so well, if you ran into me on the streets, or in these streets out here, you wouldn't just come in my face and just tell me something like that. Well, maybe you would, but you know there'd be consequences. He said, also, son of Adam, the children of your people are talking against you by the walls and the doors of the houses, I mean where you live or where you reside. And you speak to one another using the internet, using social media. Everyone to his brother saying, come, I pray you. And hear the word that comes forth from his mouth. This is why you listening and talking, but doing nothing. And they come to you as the people who come. And they sit before you as my people. And they hear the words, which you do. But you will not do them, which you don't. You just claim to do them. But with your mouth, you got all this love. I love everybody. But your heart goes after what you want to do. Shit, I can stop right there and have this. I can just, how you say, Brother Dennis Mendez, just that's a drop mic moment right there. I just wiped out 80% of these, these so-called loving Yahuah folk. Right there, just wiped them out. But I didn't have to do it. Yahuah did it. He described them to the T. These toothless tigers. These couch potatoes. These sofa warriors. He goes on to say this. But lo, you are like a sweet song of somebody who can sing very well. Or you're like a great, instrumentalist who can play on an instrument very well. But you sound good. But at the end of the day, it's all you about is that. That's it. That's the apex of what you're going to do. Talk and play. What did Yahuah tell Moses? Moses, go down there and check on your people because they laying down there, sleeping around, and I didn't got up to go to church. That's what he said. They laid down to sleep and got up to play. And what were they playing before? The golden calf. Idolatry, religion. This is why, as a Christian or Islam, all this other heathen relationship, you could be a pagan and an idol and be celebrated. You say, go down there and see what they're doing. And Moses went down there and he was shocked. He's like, what? I've only been gone 40 days. They couldn't hang in there? Nope. Well, if you read the end of Exodus chapter 32, it's 32 or 35. I think it's 35, but it's whatever, which one it is, you can find it. He had the Levites kill 6,000 of them. And don't get caught up because you Levi that makes you righteous, because Aaron was Levi. His ass was leading the charge. He's down there making a damn golden calf. For his brethren. So no, Yahuah is not interested in what you got to say. He's talking about what do you do? And look at this, brother. You look at verse, he said they love to hear the word, but they ain't going to do it. You say when it comes to the pass, and it will come to pass, that they will know that a prophet warned them. You say, their time will come, not at the time that I warn you. He said, no, not at this time. He said, but a time will come in your future that you will say, I should have listened to him. That's what it's saying right here. Even though you think you don't have to listen to anybody, because you are a fornicator. You know what a fornicator is, brothers and sisters? A fornicator is someone who's in this love affair with spirits. And that they're doing all of these, what do you want to call it? There's these type of erotic things before Yahuah. If you ever watch them, you could tell it's erotic. They got this erotic relationship with the Creator. You see them in the church dancing and running up and down, hollering and screaming and sweating and jumping and, speaking in tongues and wailing. And you can see them in other places, you know what I'm saying? They got that dreamy look about them. They're all dreamy-eyed when they come down to Yahuah. Dreamy-eyed. They want a hug from him so bad. And Yahuah is pushing them away. Like he told Saul. So I want you to go utterly kill everything. So I want you to go destroy every single one of them Amalekites. And what it saw was, well, I will, but I'm going to hold on to this special one right here, because this special one gives me something that I need, and it had to have been from Yahuah. That's the lies they tell. That's what Saul did. He kept the king. Y'all said have nothing to do with him. Totally separate. Pull apart from him. To this day, they haven't done it. And Saul didn't do it either, by the way. Why didn't Yahuah tell Saul, Saul, make a covenant with him, because, at the end of the day, he's just like you. He's a king. These are the nice things, and he's doing good things, and he's giving you all these things. He's not resisting you. Some said Maduro didn't resist Trump. I can believe it. Because it's all a big cabal. These are all Freemasons. All this stuff you guys seeing is nothing but black magic. All these nations, I told you, are confederate. What did David say there in Psalms 83, brother? So they're confederate with each other. They're not working against each other. They're working against us. But we're so proud and have so much pride that we either don't believe it, or we think it's, it makes us special because they are confederate against us. Well, how is it special when these people are slaughtering us? You might want to go read, because some of you got this weird, perversion going on inside of yourself, that you love the idea that, that you oppressed. You like to be oppressed. You get off on it. You marry into oppression. You live amongst your oppressors, and you do it comfortably. You find a way to survive it. But how is this, this perverted thinking of Yahuah? The book says the oppressor will slay you, but you don't believe that, because you want to be that person. You want to be Mr. Saul or Mrs. Saul, Mr. Superhero. It applies to everybody else, but it don't apply to you. That's you. Yeah, when you look over the book of Maccabees, you saw what the oppressors are capable of doing. Killing babies, killing innocent women, slaughtering young men, slaughtering old men. You see their behavior. But you deny it because you, like Saul, are in your pride. But you won't admit that you're prideful. And this is all throughout. It's a stench. It's a putrid smell, a rotten flesh in Yahshua. Because they just will not stand up and put their actions on display. They're just not going to do it. Like he said, they'll talk about it, they'll sing about it, they'll celebrate others who did it, but they're not going to do a damn thing. And they think that somehow or another, in some perverted relationship with the Creator, that he's going to spare them when the enemy comes. And I've just given you examples. Go read 2 Maccabees chapter 6. Go read 2 Maccabees chapter 7. Go read 4 Maccabees chapter 10. Go read 1 Maccabees chapter 2. If you think these heathens are going to be playing with you. And in all those instances, these were people who trusted Yahuwah's Torah. But they were hesitant. They didn't want to fight, Brother Dennis. They did not want to get their hands bloody. And so they got their ass bloodied. And they think that somehow or another, that some of us, because we've been around and we know a thing or two, that they don't know that we're your enemy. Isn't that amazing? So I'm your enemy because I tell you the truth. Damn. You got to question me because you ain't doing a damn thing. Damn. You got your suspicions because you are suspicious, because you are devious. But you want to project that on us. Damn. Or better yet, I should say you are damned. And you can cry innocence all you want. You know good and so well you're not innocent. You know it. And if you don't know it, people around you, if they would just tell the truth, will tell you about your evil ways. When you going to take off the mask, Joshua? That's the question. When you going to peel off the mask and admit that you've been a coward? When? When are you going to admit that the heathens in their religion, in their medical industry, in their educational industry, in their financial industry, and their government has made you a coward, has made you dependent on the state? And let me get this one clear too, brothers and sisters, because we got some Israelites out here who will go back and they'll criticize. I don't take nothing from the government. I don't want the government to do nothing for me. Well, we know our government here in America is a white government. Now, if you live in somewhere else, that's not your testimony. But if you're in America, the government is a white. It's an Edomite-driven government. So Edomite is the one they're saying they're not going to take anything from. Okay, we hear you. Now tell me something. Who you taking things from? Who pay your bills? I'm just asking, who buy the food for you? Because if it's a damn Edomite, it's a different without distinction, so I don't know how you talking. You need to be quiet. Because the same logic you're using that Yahuah is protecting you is the same logic they can say the government is there to feed and to give them housing, to give them food, and give them shelter. They can say the same thing that you saying. But because theirs is for public display and yours is private, you somehow think that there's a difference. It isn't a difference. All it does is make you a hypocrite. Because if you were telling the truth, which you're incapable of doing because you refuse to look in the mirror, Israel, you would know that you're just like them. You're just a different version of them. But you're just like them. They're a bluebird and you're a red bird. But you're still a bird. The truth be told, a burden on the people. Because you won't admit it. You won't look in the mirror. You won't deal with yourself. And even when you do, you project lies upon yourself, Yahuah. You threaten everybody. You have all these things to say. But again, when somebody come to you and say, okay, will you actually do something? When are you going to start doing what you're talking about doing? You are not there. Oh, you say, well, I'm with you, elder, but I'm doing something a little bit different. Says who? Exactly. When you will tell us to be scattered and to do 10, 30, 40, 50 different things or more. Yahuah has a clear structure on how he wants things done. And you can read right about that in the Torah. You can go right to Exodus chapter 18. He says, I'm going to put rulers over you, officials over you, judges over you, and they are the people you are to listen to. You are not allowed to do whatever you personally want to do. He said, you listen to them. And then he said, I'm going to put a prophet among you, just like you. And you also, those who are in charge of them, listen to him. And you say you love Yahuah with all your heart, all your mind, all your strength, that you are keeping this Torah, you are doing what is right. You are being just misunderstood or victimized, and you're doing just the opposite of what this book told you to do. And many of you, because you got offended. Yeah, you'll come right back and say, no, my heart is pure. The book said open rebuke is better than secret love. So how are you offended? And if your heart is pure, where did you... Look, your heart is not pure, so we're not playing... Your heart is not pure. That's a black, it's a dark heart. And I'm going to tell you something, Yahuah, that is why the judgment is so severe upon our people, because our people would rather tell lies than to own up to their own behavior. This book says our people are stiff-necked. Let's go to the book of Exodus chapter, I want to say it's 35, but it may be 32. Let's take a peek over here. This is in the Torah. And like I said before, this battle is coming, and people are going to die. And a lot of people that we used to love, maybe some of them that we still love, when they do die, just wave at them and say, you're on your way to hell. But you wouldn't listen. There was a prophet among you, but you didn't want to hear it because you didn't like him. You wasn't catering to your lust. You wasn't catering to your way. So you figured if you could just say what you wanted to say, it's 32. Hallelujah. But look what it says here. This is Exodus chapter 32. Look at it says verse 9. Oh, Yah, this is verse, let's just go at verse 8. It says, Exodus 32:8. It says what? They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. That means you got offended and you went backwards. You didn't stand your ground. You didn't keep coming. No, it says you quit on us because you're a quitter. That's what you do. Well, I ain't quit. Well, where are you? I can't see you, sister. I can't see you, brother. And we don't need you if you run, and that's what you do. When shit gets tough, you know, when I say when the crap hits the fan, you run home, you stay back, you're a coward. Admit it. But you won't admit it because you're too prideful. You're too proud. But your behavior tells us everything we need to know about you. It says here, Exodus chapter 30, verse 8. It said they have turned aside quickly. Turn aside means you turn back because you got offended. And out of which way I commanded them. And they have made them a molten calf and have worshipped it. In the word self, that's the covetousness that we just read a little earlier, how they covet themselves. They care about how they feel personally. And you have sacrificed thereunto and said, I'm God, or this is my God. O Yahuah, which of these things that you have brought you out of the land of Egypt? Yahuah said, how you saved yourself, sister? How'd you do that? He said, brother, how you saved yourself? How you pulled that one off? See, the proverb says a way that seems right to a man, but the end thereof is the ways of death. You think you're right, but you're wrong. And how do you know that? Because the prophet just told you that. But you're not going to accept the word of the prophet because you are a God unto yourself. You're corrupted. Or better said, he says, this is what you are. He said, and Yahuah said unto Moses, I have seen this people, and behold, they are stiff-necked people. Means rebellious. When they get mad, they quit, they turn around, they go home. Like a dog returned back to the vomit, as the Proverbs say, 26:11. They stand down. They become the victim. And they think that somehow, you brothers, they think that somehow or another, that Yahuah has this place for cowards, or the victim. They say, Yahuah, where's the victim house? That's where they live at. Because that's what Ezekiel is talking about. He said they go back to their houses, or they're standing. See, that's the victim house. I'm a victim. And Yahuah said, no, you're not. You ain't no victim. You just lack courage. You just care about your own self-preservation. But you project out to everybody else that you care about them. And again, that's why I don't let people lecture us in the script. In the comments. You're not lecturing us. We're not going to hear it. If you can't, help and reveal, your innermost secrets that other people can glean and learn from, then shut up. Or we'll shut you up. But no, this spirit of refusing to fight. And again, you see it. It's interesting enough too, because you see what's going on in the diaspora. You look at it from Trinidad down to Cape Verde, down to Bahamas, but you can look all through there. All of them, Grenada, all of them. U.S. aid, U.S. aid, U.S. aid. Here it is. This man, obviously, Trump is the aggressor. America is the aggressor, not just Trump, but America is the aggressor. And you mean to tell me the prime minister of that particular country, best she could come up with, well, we got family, in America, and we got family also in Venezuela, so we're gonna wait before, we don't want to judge anything too fast. Damn. Yet you see where they bombed them. Yet you see they took the president. Yes, you see, he told everybody finally he took it for the petroleum and the other, minerals there. He's admitted it clearly now. You're not going to acknowledge all those people he killed out there claiming that they were bringing drugs to the United States, to give the illusion that it was about, fentanyl and cocaine when Venezuela, if they represent anywhere more than 2 or 3% of the world's drug trade, that's a lot. Venezuela is not a place with no fentanyl coming out of that. You talking about Ecuador, you talking about Colombia, Bolivia, that's what you talking about, them places. Mexico. I guess they're going to go to Mexico and snatch that president. We know they got all kind of drug cartels in Mexico. How convenient. He jumped right on over Mexico and went right down there where that petroleum is. See, many of our people think like white men, white women. See, white women and white men, Edomites, that particular group of white men and white women, their asses will always stand for the lies because they benefit from the lies. I was talking to one of our dear sisters yesterday. I said, I'm going to go into the gym, or maybe it was the day before. I'm going to see, how many in the gym that I currently am a member of. It's Planet Fitness, so it's $10 a month. So we're not talking about something else here. And but it's predominantly non-melanated people in that gym. I said, let me see how many of them are going to be saying something about the United States invading a sovereign country. Let me see how many of them are going to have a problem with it. Go through that gym, brothers. Now, I said, what I believe, I'm not going to hear anybody saying anything. But if I do, I'm going to be much surprised. And when I'm done, I will tell you what my findings were. They were not a peep. They were just going about their day, brothers and sisters, like nothing happened. And you think these people are not wicked? You don't think that these people are come from the mother's womb as liars and vicious animals? And I know why you don't think that, many of you. I know why you think that they're your brother. And I know you think because you will believe that socially engineered lie that, everybody is the same. We all bleed the same blood. Well, I got a little news from you. That's another lie. It's like when I asked, who lied to Sarah the first time, Abraham or Satan? Many of you said, oh, Satan. No, it was Abraham. He said he was taking Shem to go to see, taking Isaac to Shem and Noah for training, is what he said. And then Satan came behind him and said, no, he's taking your son to go kill him. Well, many of you believe in that same lie, the Christian lie, that we all bleed the same blood. Well, let me tell you something. You can go right anywhere. Just go look up. White people and black people, do they have the same blood? I'm using black for the point that I'm making here. I know I'm Yahuah. But white people and black people, do they have the same blood? And guess what you're going to find out, brothers and sisters? Some people say, yeah, they do. We all bleed red. No, we have different blood. White people have different blood from black people. That's a medical, scientific fact that any educated white person already knows about. Educated Israelites, well, now you know about it. Because my job here is to teach, inform, and educate you. We do not have the same blood. So when you're doing all these blood transfusion and giving blood and all this stuff, you need to be asking your question, whose blood they're putting in your body and then what they're doing with your blood. What are they using your blood for? Because they can't put it in their bodies. So are they using it for some other purpose? Maybe to figure out ways to create biochemical weapons that they can use against you. Have you considered that? All you blood donators, quick to unroll your sleeve. Just stick it in. Saw that, got a lot of their brothers and they say stick that in. Remember that part? Some of you still dealing with the effects of that, and more to come on that one. Not from me, but what's going to happen because you made that piss poor decision. But you can get cleaned up if you come over and stand on this truth. But you got to be hardcore, 10 toes down. I love Yahuah with all my heart, mind, straight, and I'm going to follow elder, and I'm going to do the things that the physicians say to do so y'all can heal me. But you ain't going to do that. At least most of you won't. Few of you will. But no, we don't have the same blood. But that's the lie they told us. So if we don't have the same blood, then that means that one of the two groups is not human. Not in the way that we thought. But this is what happens, brothers and sisters, when when you're in all of these environments where, you're being taught, all of this acceptance. When you become, the borrower instead of the lender. Because a borrower is somebody else got to take care of. The lender is someone doing things so they can help with the work. They figure it out. But again, these are coward-like behaviors. They surrender, they give, they run back, they turn back, they talk, they mock, they mimic, they scorn, they attack you for the reasons for what they lack. They attack you because they are cowards. They attack you because they walk in a spirit of fear. And because they're afraid, they don't want anybody else to do anything but sit there docile and take an ass whipping like they're accustomed to taking. Or they go find some like impotent, emasculated, no grit male to lay under his stinky ass. To stay warm. But then they're going to get out here in the wilderness. They're not going to get out here, in these streets and fight. It ain't going to happen, Brother Franklin. We know those who like that. Nah. I love my people, but I love them from afar. That's them devils. Look. Again, stiff-necked, rebellious, ignorant. But what does Solomon say? Let's go there real quick. Then we're going to go back to the book of Joshua. And then I'm going to let, God lead anywhere else if he chooses to. While I'm turning, don't forget tomorrow night to Knox study. We're going to be in the book of Joshua. But I'm going to say to you, my brothers and sisters, this battle is here. This fight is going to happen. And nothing anybody can do. You can't pray your way out of it. You can't think your way out of it. You can't lie your way out of it. You can't steal your way out of it. You can't coward your way out of it. You can't, fall down on the floor and fast for 40 days out of it. It's coming. Jacob's trouble. Rachel crying. Doesn't mean Joshua. It's coming. It's coming vicious. And if you're not prepared, you're going to wish you had to listen to me. But look what it says here. How long you simple ones? This is Proverbs 1:22. How long are you simple-minded, love simplicity? You're so busy, distracted. This whole thing with Venezuela, whatever's got your attention other than this Torah, you're the equivalent of someone driving on the highway 150 miles an hour. Okay, take it back. Driving on the highway 60 miles an hour, and you see a deer on the side of the road, and what you do is you say, a deer, and you just watch it as you drive. Wow, look at that deer. And next thing you know, you meet that deer in deer heaven. You done crashed. No, brothers, so we got to look at these distractions as nothing but a distraction and keep our eyes on Yahuwah's Torah and on your purpose and the things that are coming. That's what we got to be focused on. We cannot be distracted all over the place. We got to be single-minded, like a warrior. I'm talking about, Israel kind of warriors. Judah. Trained Judah, righteous Judah. I'm not talking about because you of Judah. I'm talking about righteous Judah war. Righteous Simeon. Righteous Levi, like Moses, when took heads, chopped off heads. They weren't afraid. And they weren't sitting out the camp. They weren't sitting in the camp. They were fighting for the camp. And some of us have been fighting for our people our entire lives. Since we were little children, fighting for our little brothers and sisters. Protecting them, keeping sexual predators off of them. Physical abuse from them. Even from people in our own family. I had to do it for my little brothers and sisters, so I know it happens. More worried about them than we were worrying about ourselves. And yet you have scorners, mockers, right here. He says what? And he said, you scorners delight in scorning. You don't know anything about us. You don't know how many people who are still on this earth because of us. You don't know how many people who died, but they lived longer because we were there for them. And not sitting there praying on their side, helping, assisting, warning, grabbing, picking up behind them. Fighting every bit of our life and still fighting to this very moment, and your disrespectful ass has nothing better to do but to ask us what we did. And you know you haven't done a damn thing. You're going to strike, you're going to burn in hell, fool. And how I know they say, because you fool, you hate knowledge. Because if you had knowledge, you wouldn't have asked the question. You would be asking, what is he yakking about or whatever you're saying. You're just one. Don't think yourself proud because I quoted you. Like I told you, all I know is your mama is probably a hoe because you called me your brother and I am not. Nor could be. And given the option, I wouldn't be. You're looking at a man. When I look in that mirror, I see the Torah. When I look in that mirror, I see Yahuah's purpose for my life. And a part of it is waking up my people. This book tells me, cry aloud, spare not, lift up my voice like a trumpet. Warn my people. That's Isaiah 58:1. And it says, if I don't warn them, I'm damned. That's Ezekiel chapter 3. Be around 18, 19 right up in there. So don't tell me anything about anything because obviously you don't know what you're talking about. But where there's one, there's a million of you. So, you're not alone with your folly. But Yahuwah said, when the day comes, he said, because you had a whole lot to say, he said, I'm going to laugh in your face when you start crying like a little girl. Or you squeal like a pig. If you're a woman, you'll be squealing like a pig. And if you're a man, you're going to be crying like a little girl. Let's go down here to the book of Joshua. We wrap this thing here towards the exit door, so to speak here. The fight's coming. I advise my brothers and sisters, don't sit around like you see what's going on all over this world. These heathen, and they're using their muscle and their strength to just pretty much colonize the whole earth again. Pirates and thieves and plunderers. And I'm going to tell you something, brothers and sisters. If you think that somehow or another, because there's a flag flying over your head saying you're an American, then you need to ask all of our ancestors from 1865, I'm talking about here in America, to really 2025. Ask them about how it feels to be America in a country that you can't drive down the street and, and make if the police comes upon you, so-called law enforcement, and you can't even touch your console without being feared you might get shot dead in your car. Or if you, sister, come up missing, nobody looks for you. But if one of their kind come up missing, the whole country is looking for you. And you think you're an American. Prisons are full of your people, and you think you're American. 95% of the wealth in this country is owned by other than your people, and you think you're American. And your people been here as long as their people been here. Longer in some cases. But you think you're an American. The jails are full of your people, not theirs, but you think you're an American. Then be one. But I can assure you, it's not going to end well for you. Because see, when that fighting starts and it's so dark you can't see your hand in front of your face, you're going to realize real quick, that when they come looking for you, and they will, that was the biggest mistake you ever made in your life. Thinking that somehow or another, being friendly with your enemy was going to be your redemption, or you were going to be spared, better said. You said, no, Yahuwah is my Savior, but you think that Yahuwah is going to spare you when you compromise yourself with them. Not going to happen. This book tells us clearly, never trust your enemies. This book said they'll come at you with all kind of sweet, clever words, got all kind of nice things to say. Don't believe them. This book they're going to ask you all kind of questions. So what? You think they really care? They're just being, what they are. They're sniffing in the air, looking for prey. That's all they're doing. Trying to find the food. And unfortunately, many of you brothers and sisters, you're going to be their food. I mean, you already know they talked about what they're going to do to you when you die. Look what Moses said here, the book of Joshua. Look at it reads right here, brothers and sisters. This is Joshua chapter 1. Again, I'm still talking about, Yahuah. I wrote it down. It said, Yahuah and his who fights. Yahuah and his chosen who fight. But I'm not going to put chosen in. It's just Yahuah and his who fight. And we're not fighting, from the rear. We're fighting the fighters are on the wall. Brother Davidson, the fighters are on the wall. Sister Cope, the fighters are on the wall. Brother Piani, the fighters are on the wall. Brother Elmer, fighters are on the wall. I know you fighting. Fighters are on the wall. Sister Jackson, the fighters are on the wall. They're not sitting at home talking about what they're going to do. They're actually doing it. The fighters are on the wall. Brother Cameron, I know you there. Brother Keith, Lance, Brother Goins. The fighters are on the wall. The cowards are in the rear, talking about it. Every now and then we see them. When they get curious, what's going on? Let me go check the DFG channel. That's them. Depending on what I got to do Wednesday night, I might or might not be on the Tanakh study. That's them. Can you imagine? That, a big giant battle's about to happen. We got a surprise attack. And we saying, okay, come on, y'all, let's go fight. And where they were? Sleep. Way out in the woods somewhere, sleep. Picking in their garden. In the kitchen. Let's fight everybody. They didn't even hear us. Never trust your enemy, even if your enemy tries to come across as your friend. What David said, their words smooth as butter, but war is in their heart. He said, their words soft as all, Brother Franklin. He said, but they got knives in their hands. And these are the ones who are supposed to be with us, brothers and sisters. But you'll know them by their words. You don't know them by their words. Never trust their words, brothers. That's what it's saying. Don't trust them by their words. You better look and see what they're doing. How am I doing? What am I doing? What do you need? What do I want? Why are you always asking questions and doing nothing? Is that your little clever way of holding on to whatever you're holding on to? And I don't want to hear nothing from them. If they're not going to fight, then stay where you at. Just leave us alone. That's how I feel about you. You ain't going to help us, then go. Go away. Go over there where you've been. They're not going to fight, and you don't have to fight being with them either. You'll be sheep led to the slaughter. Because they're not going to open their mouths. You can believe that. Not against, they so-called, we love everybody. What are you doing? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Look at the book of Joshua. Now after the death of Moses and the servant of Yahuah, it came to pass that Yahuah spoke unto Joshua the son of Nun, Moses' minister, so he didn't have any problem serving leadership. Moses' minister, saying, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now therefore arise and go over to this Jordan, you and all this people, unto the land which I do give unto them, even to the children of Yasharel. Funny, he continues to identify a group of people, but you got a group of people that don't want to be identified. Oh, y'all Hebrew Israelites. Oh, you guys are full of this, and all you care about is multiple wives, and all you care about, is skin color and all that. Just go sit your little wicked ass down. Nobody's asking for your opinion. Would you please shut up about things you don't know anything about? Parroting, saying things you heard somebody else say. As I said earlier, you're the same one going around talking about we all bleed the same blood, and that's a lie. You believe lies and you regurgitate the lies because you're comfortable living a lie. And I'm not going to play games with you. Verse 3. In every place that the sole of your foot should tread upon, that I have given unto you, as I said to Moses. This is why I'm on the land that I'm on right now. A few days, I'm going to have to go figure out if this fight is I guess we'll see how deep I am in these trenches. But he said, go possess the land. He said, wherever your feet are, that's yours when you go and follow me. See, I believe I'm where I'm supposed to be. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. And I ain't going no goddamn where until Yahuah tells me to go. And nobody on this flat earth going to be able to take me off of this land alive unless Yahuah tells me to leave. See, I'll die for what I believe. Most of you just give me something to eat and something to drink and, some entertainment and, I should be happy, master. Well, that's your life, not mine. He says, but everywhere your foot should tread, I give it to you, Yasharel. From the wilderness of Lebanon, even to the great river, the river Pura, and the land of Chittim, which we know is Greece and Rome and all of that stuff, and probably America, truth be told, because this is probably Greece and Rome. Probably more places than that, for all we know. Until the great sea going towards the sun, sure that's the oceans, and shall be your coastline. There shall not be any man able to stand before you in all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so will I be with you, and I will not fail you, and I damn sure won't forsake you. He said that's what wicked Israelites do. They turn back. They quit. They don't do things when they get upset. That's what he's talking about them. Even if they're not upset, they don't. Let me correct that. They don't do things. Upset ain't got nothing to do with it. They use upset as a justification not to do things. They weren't going to do it anyway, though. But just being upset gives them reason. See, that's the clever. That's the wolf in sheep's clothing. But he says this, be strong and of good courage, for unto this people shall you divide for an inheritance this land, which I swore to your fathers to give to them. So that means they don't give a shit who possess the land. Yahuah say, no, this is how you say this is inheritance property. This is, property that was set aside for us from the beginning, way back from when he promised our forefathers. The heathens came in and stole it and paid, use fake, whatever they call their, whatever they make their fake contracts and deeds and things of that nature to, and say, now it's yours. Give me some money, it's yours. Well, you can't give nobody money for something that don't belong to them. I mean, you can, but at the end of the day, y'all don't acknowledge it. Y'all said don't make no covenants with them heathens. He said make no covenants with them. So you walking around here talking about you covenanted in marriage, or you covenanted in property, you covenanted in, y'all said not to make any covenants because they don't keep their covenants. They're traitors, they are liars. They don't keep their word. They change it like they change their draws at their convenience. They don't respect their own covenants, but you got Israelites over here telling you, you better obey the law, man. You go obey the law, idiot. A law that they can change tomorrow, while you sitting over there bragging on it or boasting on it or trying to make us afraid of it today. You only be what? Strong and very courageous, that you may guard to do according to all the Torah which Moses my servant commanded you. Interesting enough, a man giving commands to other men and women. That's what righteousness looks like. You can take the command from those who Yahuah put in leadership over you. You don't struggle with that. You look to it. You're attracted to it. You long for it. Nobody should have to look for you when the word is coming up or the messages are being taught. You should be the first. You should be sitting there waiting. Your whole day should be planned around it. Just looking at, I just did it figuratively, like looking at it. Your whole day should be planned around it. You plan your vacations around whatever it is you plan them around. You plan your life around a vacation, but you can't plan your life around Yah's word. And you weigh your priorities again. Yahuah is first in what again? The worst lie a man or woman can tell is the lie you tell yourself. And that's what thieves do. He said, what? A thief is worse than a liar, but they're both going to go to hell. And liars lie. They lie about everything. They lie. You misunderstand. You lie. That's not what I mean. You lie. That's not this. And that's what they lie. They always claim they're being lied on because they are liars. They walk in that spirit. They will never look in the mirror and deal with themselves, brothers and sisters. It won't happen. It's never going to be them. Don't ever look to them for change. They will not change. What did Jeremiah say? He said what? It's like, the leopard changing, not going to change his spots, and the Ethiopian, the color of his skin. They like to hear the word, but they're going to do themselves. But Yahuah said, no, you do all according to my Torah, verse 7, which Moses my servant commanded you, and turn not from it to the right or to the left. That's for all you New Testament idiots. Well, the ones who still follow the New Testament, you idiots. I apologize. The rest of you came out of there. I was there too. That's not about you. Yahuah don't even remember that anymore, as long as you don't play over there anymore. They're out of the pig pen, you good. But for the swine who's still over there wallowing in that mud, he's talking about you. I'm talking about you. It said don't leave the Torah. Don't alter the Torah. Don't go to the left or to the right of the Torah. That you may prosper. That's why you're not prospering. Because exactly what he said not do, many in Yahshua are doing. Along with lacking courage, lacking a willingness to stand fight, to help fight. They think hell fighting is praying. I just told you what the heathens said, yeah, we're going to pray, but we're going to get our weapons. Israel, we're going to pray and just wait on the Lord. What would Jesus do? I don't know how your dumb ass, be somebody's servant. For life, your whole damn life. Number 8, verse 8. And this cipher of the Torah shall not depart out of your what? Mouth. But you shall meditate therein day and night, just like David said in Psalms, that you shall guard to do according to all that is written therein. But then shall you make your way prosperous, and then shall you have good success. So all you perpetual, needing somebody else to do something for you. This book said if you would just keep this Torah, Yah would do it for you. The Torah would open the doors that you can't open. The Torah would shut the doors that you can't close. The Torah would heal your body. The Torah would strengthen your resolve. The Torah would give you, wealth. The Torah would give you prosperity. The Torah would give you eternal life. But you're too busy looking at man and heathens. Because you won't deal with yourself. You're never going to figure this out. It's not going to happen. If that's the math, you go on math. Some of you are offended because of the tone of my voice. You're offended because of the gray in my beard, the boldness in my arms, the chest. Some of you are sitting over there. Look at him. Look at who? Why you stop looking and start listening? Do yourself a favor. Where you spend eternity might depend on it. Well, will depend on it, no might in it. He said, but you'll have good success. You'll be prosperous if you obey my Torah. He said, but be strong, good courage. Be not afraid. Don't be discouraged. I don't care what your situation is. Okay, it's new, beautiful. Something new to focus on. Another opportunity for growth. For Yahuah is with you wherever you go. And then Joshua commanded the officers of the people. Then Joshua commanded the officers of the people. Then Joshua, listen carefully, commanded who? The officers of the people. Nobody can tell you nothing. You don't trust no man. Obviously, you're not the blessed, and you're damn sure not going to prosper. You're in rebellion. You're stiff-necked, as Moses said. Then Joshua commanded the officers of the people, saying, pass through the host and command the people, saying, prepare food, for within 3 days we shall go to this Jordan. We shall go to possess this land, which Yahuah gives you to possess it. So why wouldn't we be taking the land that Yahuah tells us to take? Why would we be afraid to go and get it, Brother Piani? Why would we not roll up our sleeves and say, we're going to do what we got to do, Brother Cameron? Of course that's what we're going to do. But we're supposed to do this as a collective, as a group think. Not one over here, and one down there. But see, when you're rebellious and you're selfish, you don't care about nobody but yourself, that's what you think about. You run to Africa and leave all your people behind, but you righteous. The book says the wicked flee it when no one pursueth them. Well, I was being chased. Nobody even know who you are, let alone chasing you, unless you're a convict or a crook. Otherwise, why are you talking about somebody chasing you? Nobody chasing you. You ran. You didn't want to fight. And that's okay. That's what cowards going to do. Unrepentant cowards is going to continue to run. A repentant coward is no longer a coward. You can repent, come back, reestablish yourself. But then Yahuah would have to spark that fire. And that fire in you, how you say that? What's the little thing, the thing that comes out of the candle? You know what I'm talking about, the thing that causes it to burn? So you take this candle here, and this little thing down here that you use to light. See, that thing there is not in you no more. So they can't light it. You can take the light and put it in this vase, but if that little stem that's there is gone, it doesn't matter. It's just going to be a light inside of this, but it's not going to continue to burn. And a lot of you so-called righteous Israelites, that's all you are. You're just, a light with no fire. You hear the truth, you know the truth, but you ain't going to do the truth. But then again, that's flint, that stem, the chosen among us. We'll do our part for one another. Realize that we can't count on you. He goes on to say, your woman and your little ones. I'm sorry, let's go back to verse 12. He said, and Reuben and Gad and half the tribe of Manasseh spoke Yahushua, saying, so he's giving them direction. Remember the word of which Moses, the servant of Yahuah, commanded you, saying, Yahuah Almighty has given you rest and has given you this land. He said, your women and your little ones and your cattle shall remain in the land which Moses gave you on that side of the Jordan, but you shall pass before your brethren armed. Armed, that means with weapons in hand. Not talk, not prayers, not faith, not hope, not lucky charms, not idols, not charms, not trinkets, not bracelets, not the pastor, not the priest, not the church, not your religion. No, armed weapons. Weapons, brothers and sisters. Arms. Not arms, A-M-S. Some of y'all can do a better job with that. No, you're talking about A-R-M-S, armed. He said, you and your brothers shall come here armed, and all the mighty men of valor, not the cowards, to help us. And until Yahuah have given your brethren rest, and he has given you, as he has given you, just because you're comfortable doesn't mean you're supposed to forget about the rest of us, is what it's saying. Just because you're content doesn't mean you're supposed to forget about the rest of your brothers and sisters. They're discontent. He said, the word he used in Malachi the other day, he says contemptible behavior. Like being in contempt of court. That's contemptible behavior. When you got it made, but you don't worry about the rest of your brothers and sisters. When the fighting is, when it's time to fight. You care until it's time to fight. Then when it's time to fight, you show your true colors. That yellow coward stripe comes right down between your breasts or right down behind on your back. And you so-called righteous stranger, you ain't no righteous stranger if you're a coward. And you don't fight for Yahshua. And we ain't talking about your talking either. Your contributions. What we talking about here. He says, until Yahuwah Almighty gives them rest, then shall you return to the land of your possession and enjoy it, which Moses, Yahuwah's servant, gave you on this side of Jordan towards the sun rising. So he's telling, those other tribes we're supposed to be fighting together. None of y'all are supposed to be sitting it out. And they answered Joshua saying, all that you command us, we will do. Wherever so you send us, we will go. Ain't that something? So no conditions? So they didn't tell Joshua, well, depending on, what about if I agree, if I understand it right? They didn't say any of that. They just said, whatever you say, Joshua. It ain't up to me, it's up to you. Whatever you say, Joshua. So that's how we know who the chosen are and who are not the chosen, brothers and sisters. Don't worry about what they say. Don't worry about what they write. Don't worry about what they post. No. What are you doing? Where's your fight? Every day you get up, you know that you have an enemy on the march towards you. I do. But I don't let it stop me. I don't say, well, you know what? I'm not going to come before my brothers and sisters and rally up the troops and do my job and, and direct us in Yah's Torah and you judge Yahuwah's ways among us and give us insight and counsel. No, I don't say any of that. I do my job. Why aren't you doing yours? Supporting the work. I'm talking about for you who don't. Why are you using excuses to justify your ineptitude? Why are you faking injury? Because you don't want to play. In other words, offended. And he answered, again, verse 17, dropping down. According to as we hearken unto Moses in all things, not just the things they preferred, in all things. Read the book here, brothers and sisters. So as we listen to Moses in all things, so will we listen unto you. Yahuwah Almighty be with you. He said, only Yahuwah will be with you. And of course, Yahuwah going to be with you if you're doing what Yahuwah's Torah says to do. You leading the way Yahuwah says to lead. You're not sparing. You're calling out transgressions. You're lifting up your voice. You're showing yourself to be a man or a righteous daughter of Zion. So Yahuwah will be with you as he was with Moses. And whatsoever, and whosoever, let me say this close, whosoever he be that rebels against you, Joshua, or your commandments, and will not listen unto your words and all that you command him, Joshua, we're going to put his or her ass to death. Only you be strong and of good courage. This is what the people said to the leader. Only a very few small chosen of us would fix their mouth to say that, brothers and sisters. Y'all know it, and I know it, about leadership, righteous leadership. Or they'll say that about old pastor, lying thief, bishop, priest, pope, cardinal, imam, rabbi, Louis Farrakhan. Or they'll say it about them devils. The ones who don't care nothing about it. But when it comes down to one from among their brethren, like myself, who ready to get down here and been down here, grew up in the mud, grew up in the dirt, grew up in the poverty, grew up in the suffering, grew up in the pain, fighting every day of my life, fighting on the job, fighting to get promoted, fighting, to keep the job, fighting against the shoplifters, fighting against the thieves that work for the companies I managed, fighting against the customers who were stealing, being accountable for the inventory, fighting all my life, fighting. None of it was for free. It was always a fight. Fighting to make the budget, fighting to get the expenses under control, fighting to get the sales up, fighting, to increase the market share, fighting, to keep the sanitation departments and the auditors and the safety rules and the safety people from shutting the place down. Always a fight. Fighting to retain the employee, fighting, to make the customer happy, fighting against the customer who won't come in and fight with us. Always a fight. And I'm still fighting. And I will continue to fight. Because I was chosen to lead the fight. If so be that you were chosen, then okay. It's time to fight. Shalom, Yahshua. Elder DFG. Thank you guys who support the work, giving to the work, and going to take this teaching, this lesson, and do something with it. Hallelujah. Praise Yahuwah.